Hi to all. Hope everyone is doing fine in during the lockdown days. Uh, I won't waste much of our time as we are running very short. So we'll just quickly jump into our topic, which is secularism. Today I'll be discussing the two units, which is secularism, and the later half of the class I'll talk about the strategies of development in India post independence. So today we'll talk about secularism in the context of India and in the West. Uh, Secularism. The slides has been not arranged in a sequence way, so I'll just catch in between the slides. You don't have to worry about that. So before moving to secularism, let let's just talk about some the concept of the Western concept of state and the nation. Uh, Everything started from the Treaty of Westphalia, 1648. What is Treaty of Westphalia means? Treaty of Westphalia means it completely segregated the power between the church and the state. Church is the religion authority, and state, whenever I say state, is the government. And during that time is the monarch. Now it's a present day government, our own elected government. So what was happening during that time, that the church and the state were so mingled among each other that ultimately the church were ruling over the state. What it means that the church means religion, is ruling over the state. What it signifies, that ultimately church church become so powerful in a way that it was completely ruling not only the subjects, which is the public, but also the king. Because under the blessing of a church, a king has to be decided. So philosophers like Machiavelli, who rightly say in his book, who says there they need to have a complete segregation between church and the state in order to survive a country. So the country won't be segregated among itself. And he's the one during and under his guidelines, he's the one who united the entire Italy. So, and this is the idea of Treaty of Westphalia in 1648, where everyone, where the Western concept is to segregate the church and the state. What secularism means? Is secularism means where a person don't follow any religion, where the state doesn't follow any religion. What defines secularism? Uh, Before jumping to the India, let's just talk about what is secular and secularization is. As I've mentioned, the Western concept of secularism is there should be a segregation between church and the state. That the religion and the church and the decision making of the government should be segregated, and both should not be aligned no matter what. That the both should not have to be confronted nor to align. The church should not promote any religion, neither the religion should promote any of the duties of the state. So this is basic narrow definition of This is a basic narrow definition of the Western concept of the secularism. And this difference between secularism and secularization, as I've mentioned in here, secularization is not about anti-religion or pro-religion. It's not about atheism or atheism or not following any religion, but but it's neither. It's about the disappearance of religion from public or private life. What secularization is mean? What secularization mean is that religion is one of the way, not the way, but one of the way. Religion is one of the way, not the way, where people see, where people interact among each other. So it is more of a concept of a enlightened society, which believes that religion is not only the way. The way is the it's not only the solution, or it's not only the way where people are following religion blindly, superstitiously. Now coming again to the secularism. The basic dictionary meaning of secularism means to be non-religious. Let me just give an example of the France. Uh, what nations, what objective does France hold during secularism, or what their definition of secularism is, or what they mean when they say that the religion and the state should not interfere and intermingle with each other. If you look at the France, there is high debate they where they have banned the burqa in the public domain. Uh, there's a lot of agreement and disagreement among the people that burqa represents the Muslim identity, and 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 in France, one can follow any religion, irrespective of others' belief or others' choice, at their own private space, but not in public space. So it was banned in France. Same like in India. If you look at India, in India we are a diverse, multicultural society, and in India, though there is a separation between the church and the state, church and the state means there is segregation between the religion and the government. But in India, we do respect other religions as well. We do respect the other religions and have not enforced such law which was enforced in the Western society. Now, the secularism in the context of India, India, as we know, it's a multicultural society. From the independence, we remain as a secular country from 47 itself during the time of partition. Though Pakistan, our neighboring country, and the other as well, which clearly mentioned in their preamble, in the constitution, that they are the Islamic Republic of Pakistan or Afghanistan and the other. But we never mentioned such thing. We never opted a Hindu state. We never cry for to be a Hindu majority or to be a Hindi majority country. India is a country which does not respect all other religion, which gives which which not only respect all other religion, but give equal opportunity every religion to grow and coexist peacefully in every part of the society, in every part of the India itself. In the meaning of secularism in India, it's not just equal respect for all, it is also the toleration aspects of the Indian society, and the toleration is not the negative toleration, but it's a positive aspects of the people who not only tolerate the other religion but also give them a chance to spread their religious harmonies in the society. As Harvey Cox has rightly said, secularism does not mean that you exclude religion from the society. Secularism does not mean that you exclude religion from the society, but it's a peaceful coexistence of one community with other community. Is the only way which is appropriate for the country, and is the only way where one can ease up the tension, which is one can easily ease up the tension because of the multicultural society that India is having. I can give you plenty of example because of not following secular, not following the secular, because of the intermingle of the state and the church, the country got devastated in between. The country got suffered in between. Uh, so Pakistan is one such example. There's plenty more in South Asia. Another is Sri Lanka. If you look at the history of Sri Lanka got independence in 1948. Though they were majorly, Sinhalese was in the majority, and they were Tamils, they were Muslims, uh, they were people, there were other religion who were surviving in Sri Lanka. After 1948, everything got so messed up that eventually it leads to this not only the eventually the civil war broke up between the in the country itself, and even led to the killing of the one of the Indian Prime Minister, ex-Prime Minister. So this is what's a communal mindset, or a country which is run through multicultural society can can be blasted among itself when they do not follow the principle of secularism. Though there were plenty more examples, even in the uh, in Europe as well. Belgium is another example where they were they were France, they were German speaking people, and even the majority of them was dictating over the minority, and leads to civil war, and eventually it leads to a civil war. Though they later on the stage resolve their problem through deliberation and the decentralization, which we'll talk about future, which we'll talk about in the next few slides, and I'll be talking about the solution and the way ahead for a country. For now, uh, I've divided secularism into two parts, which is the Western notion, which simply means that there should be a segregation between church and the state. which basically defines that the state, the government should not interfere into the working of the religion, or the religion should not be interfered in the working of the state. The basic definition of a secularism is the Western countries are given the example of France, where they have banned burqa in the public domain. One, you can practice any religion irrespective of whatever in your private domain, but not in the public domain. In the Indian context, it is not possible. We have defined a different meaning of secularism. In India, secularism does not mean the separation of the church and the state. In India, we have a different notion of the word secularism, which Rajiv Bhargava has given a tremendous definition and which Rajiv Bhargava has explained in a beautiful manner. So coming to India, uh, post 1947, we India chose to remain secular, though it was nowhere mentioned in the Constitution of India. Uh, Even in late 60s, uh, the word secularism was not there. We In the later 1967, we adopted the secular word in the Indian Constitution itself. But it doesn't mean that India was non-secular in the not a secular country post 1967 or pre 1967. India was not a secular country. We were secular then, we were secular now. In India, though, the definition of secularism is slightly different from the Western concept of secularism. In India, though Article 25 to 28 of Indian Constitution in fundamental rights have still talks about, and 20 and 30 have clearly talks about the secularism, what secularism is. Uh, though there are many articles in Indian Constitution, 25, 28, and 20 and 30 talk about the freedom that every religion hold in India. Before moving there, let's just let's just read what practices does India hold, what how India defines the way of secularism is. In India, secularism means the freedom to practice and preach any religion, whatever one wish to preach, where a state will not follow any religion, where state will give equal treatment irrespective of their faith, where a state is not being run by a, a preach or the state will not run uh, by a by some religious authority. State remain to choose a sovereign, socialist, secular, and democratic country. This is what the definition of secularism in India. Though in India context, Rajiv Bhargava later on add giving few more definition to the word secularism in India. What Rajiv Bhargava promotes was that our secularism is different from how Indian secularism is different from the Western concept of secularism. In the basic definition, he says that India cannot abstain themselves from the religion. In India, the government interfere in religion practices if they are hurting if they are degrading the human dignity and their values. So this is what the Indian definition of secularism, that a state can interfere in the religion practices if the religion practices are delimiting or degrading the value of religion, or delimiting or degrading the value of human and its dignity. So this is what Rajiv Bhargava have defined in his essay. As we know, there are two pioneers of India, Gandhi and Nehru. Though their idea of secularism, the meaning of secularism, always remain two opposite poles, but eventually, in the end, even their poles meet a certain equilibrium. Gandhi and Nehru, they have different perspectives about how religion should be intermingled or religion should be practiced in India. For Gandhi, religion means Sarva Dharma Sambhava. Sarva Dharma Sambhava, which means consider every religion as equal. Sarv, every dharma, religion should be equal. This is what the practices that India holds. Besides the Sarva Dharma Sambhava, Gandhi promoted the value of truth, compassion, and tolerance towards the other religion. While Nehru doesn't does not is not against the religion. What Nehru means that religion is an epitome of morality and ethics and should be limited to that only. It should be limited to your private space only. While following, while coming into the public space, what Nehru defines is dharma. What Nehru defines is dharma, that religion should not be followed in the private space, in the public space. According to Nehru, what he endeavors is scientific and progress approach. Though scientific and human progressive approach. And for Nehru, secularism is so close to him that he chose to remain. He wanted India to be a secular country for not only the people who are religious but also the people who do not want to follow any religion. So this is the difference between the Gandhi and Nehru. But eventually Gandhi and Nehru came to a cross point, which Gandhi says that every religion, no matter what, practices ethics and morality. And this is the basic essence of each individual and each community which hold any religion practices. And there's no religion who promotes bigotry or hatred among individuals. So one should mix religion with politics. Though Nehru was opposed to this idea, which we do understand that through the rise of communism during that time, that how the people were misusing the religion, how people were brainwashing the youth the youth in terms of religion to to gain their personal belief, to gain their self-development. So this is one basic definition of Gandhi and Nehru, and wish to I wish to deliver before continuing to the other part. I want this two debate to be known in the society as they were two pioneers who who established India, who established what today India is known for. Role of political party. Before moving to the secularism, before moving to the role of political parties, uh, let's just let's just review the constitutional safeguards that has been attached before moving to the further part of this session. Let's just talk about the constitutional safeguard which is given in the Indian Constitution. The preamble, which is considered as a gist of the Indian Constitution, which is considered how the government should and public should function in day-to-day life. It gives, though the word secularism we enunciate in the Indian preamble, uh, but doesn't mean that Indian never followed the principle of secularism. We remain to be secularism not only post 1960s, but we were secular from 1947 itself. India never gave any special treatment to any particular religion. India never defined religion. Indian government never defined religion. Indian government never interfered in the practices in the domain of the religion. Let's just there are some few articles that one should read if they want to understand more about the Indian Constitution. There are Article 14, 15, 16, Article 29, 28, Article 29 and 30. Article 25 to 28. Article 25 talks about the freedom of religion to practice and propagate their religion. In India, we are given freedom to every religion, irrespective of any religion which is born in India or which is has permitted from outside to follow. One can practice, propagate, and promote any religion, whatever they want. Article 26 talks about the freedom of an institution to manage their religious affairs. Article 27 Article 27 talks about the freedom as to payment of taxes for promotion of any particular religion. Article 28 talks about freedom as to attendance at the religious instruction or religious worship in certain educational institutions. Though there were other articles as well, 29, 30, Article 14 to 14 to 16 as well. Article 14 generally talks about there should be Idea 14 generally talks about there should be equality before the law, irrespective of their religion, culture, sex, creed. Article 15 talks about the state should not discriminate any culture, religion on the basis of religion, birth, sex. Article 16 talks about the equality of opportunity in, in the public domain, in the public employment, irrespective of their culture or irrespective of their faith. So, Indian Constitution, if you see, have clearly mentioned, have clearly defined what practices does it hold to promote the idea of secular India. In India, we are given the freedom. One can propagate, practice, and promote their own religion, and not only that, one can also manage their own institution. One can even preserve their own culture if they. One can also preserve their own culture. One can also preserve their own culture. Just hold on a minute. Uh, Now coming to Supreme Court guidelines of 1977, which basically talks about the propagate and the conversion which was happening during 1977. There were there were a lot of row in the parliament as well in the country that the people are converting forcefully through allurement or through the monetary policy or from through monetary gain. Supreme Court in the 1977 guidelines clearly says that one can convert into any religion, one has the freedom to convert to any religion, but conversion should not be maligned with the idea of allurement or forcefully. And irrespective of that, one is free to convert through his individual capacity, through his individual choices. Though there are multiple instances where Supreme Court has intermingled with the idea of with the idea of with the idea of legislature, or have most of the time have like most of the time have tried to overthrow the power of the other institutions. Uh, if you look at the 1992, if you look at the 1992 judgment or Bomai case, uh, 1994 Bomai case judgment, what happened during that time was it Babri Masjid, uh, state, because of some intervention from the state, it becomes a wild issue, and it leads to the demolition of the Babri Masjid. It leads to the demolition of Babri Masjid. And when if you look at the closely part, there was some it was promoted by some institution, it was promoted by the government itself. So during the Bomai case, 1994 judgment, Justice Sawant has clearly mentioned, Justice Sawant has dismissed four states, dismissed the four government or four states of the Indian government, defining because they are the one who was engaged into the religious disharmony in the country. Again, this is one definition how the constitution is promoting the idea of secularism. How if someone tries to disharmony, if someone creates a cycle of disharmony in the Indian society, the Supreme Court, through the power of the Supreme Court, one to the power of constitution, to the power of the preamble that we hold, if one can even dismiss the government, even dismiss the elected government. This is the power, this is the practices that Indian citizen, the Indian court holds. Though in 1996, Justice Verma went on calling Hindutva a way of life. Though he doesn't mean that Hinduism or one should enforce the culture of Hinduism over other citizens. He never meant that. What he basically means was that the Hinduism is also one way of life of living. Though it was coming from the higher institution, though it was coming from the authority itself, it, one should not see it's the idea as the malign idea where one is this bringing this harmony into the country, whereas one is thinking that one religion is superior to the other religion. This is not the case. This is not what Justice Verma was meant. Role of political parties. This is what Nehru was so afraid that he never wanted religion to be mingled with the in the public space. What he meant was the religion and politics should be kept as two separate entities. Or this is what Bomai case is afterwards. Religion should not be mingled with the public space because it can lead to the violence, it can lead to the instability in the society. We have seen in the Sri Lanka, we have seen in the Brussels or the Belgium itself that how uh, a religion becomes so centric that the state becomes vulnerable to the demand and the need of the majoritism. And this is what happening in the majority of the country, in majority of the South Asian countries. Uh, so Nehru was more afraid of the religion, of the political parties. And Nehru never wanted religion to be mixed with the political parties, to be mixed with the politics, because he knows how dangerous it would turn into, how dangerous one how dangerous it would have been if one tried to mix the religion and the politics. If one is more of the fire that the government is going to play. Nehru never wanted that. Nehru never wanted society to be fragmented into two groups, Hindu and Muslim. So Nehru never wanted the polarization in India. So this is the only reason why kept Nehru always wanted religion to be segregated from the politics itself. Why Nehru never wanted secular, why never wanted religion to be inducted into the politics. Though the later half, his own party, Congress, became one of the biggest mobilizers in the name of secular India. What during the 1980s, during the Sargano case, there were a lot of hue and cry because the person Sargano got divorced, instant divorce because some person said 3 words to him and he got divorced, and that becomes the hue and cry in the entire country, and they want to promote a legislation into this. What India was looking after was a uniform civil code. There should be a civil code which should be done through the entire India. Sahabanu in 1980s promoted Sahabanu, though Rajiv Gandhi uh, want can promote a legislation, wanted to promote a legislation because of the Sahabanu case, and the feminist group, the liberals, they all wanted to bring a legislation in order to remove the Tripura or just to have a single uniform civil code, just they have for the Hindu woman. But eventually, he never brought the legislation into Lok Sabha. So even the BJP during that time, they were the biggest voices. Even then, the families itself, they were the BJP always remained the bigger voices. They always wanted this law to be enabled in this country itself. So what they come with the idea of pseudo-secularism. Pseudo-secularism, what they mean is there is appeasement by the Muslims, the appeasement of the Muslims. So what BJP basically talks about, BJP says that Hindu is a fragment society. Hindu is a fragment society. Hindu is divided among various segments in the society. The Hindus see themselves in terms of identity, in terms of their own caste, which is so true, which we can simply see it through the banners or through the tagline that the people now uses as a suffix and prefix behind their name or behind their vehicles. The Brahmins vehicle, the Jat, the Gujjar. So it's more so true that the Hindu is divided among itself. So where does which political party or which group to target? So one can win the elections as we are following the first past the post system. So the number of the voting, the number is what it does matter, what it matters. So the basic thing that what political parties was following is a pseudo-secularism, that one should appease the Muslim leaders, one should appease the particular community, Muslim community, and they do not have this fragmentation like this of Hindu. And if one is able to appease that segment, one can easily devote their vote into their own political parties, and one can easily become the leader of their community. Congress tries to mobilize the Muslim community, but they never decentralize the power. Congress always uphold a single individual, or what you call the leader of the community, who represents who Congress thinks that who is going to represent their community, but never look into the weaker section of the society. This Congress wanted to create a segment of a vote bank in order to win the election. That is what the Congress is doing it. And This is what Manmohan Singh has said that in the country, I'm not exactly remember his word, but he goes on a record saying in this country resources, whatever resources India holds, Muslim is the first one who holds the resources. This statement is nothing but an appeasement to Muslim youth, but an appeasement to Muslim politics, but an appeasement to the vote bank politics that is being followed by the Congress party. There are some failures and challenges. There are some failures and challenges. Uh, Article 48 talks about the banning of the cow meat, the cow slaughter. One can say that the uh, in India we have not there is no state religion. So why should we ban the meat of the cow? Why should ban the cow slaughters? Why should one ban the cow slaughters? And the idea can be found in the what Nehru, what Gandhi has said. What Gandhi has said in his virtue of tolerance, that we should respect the other community as well. We should respect their feeling. We should respect the idea of their thoughts. And in Hinduism, the cow is so close to the Hindu values, Hindu principle that they want it to remain. They want it to practice this practice this principles of banning the cow slaughter. Though there are certain states in India which do not practice this principle, and it's completely permissible in the constitution. One can choose whatever eating he or she wants to have. An Indian government, Indian constitution would not go and stop that thing. Fundamentalism, as we have seen this high rates of fundamentalism in India, where the youth have been brainwashed in terms of the religion, how one is how one political party malign uh, the whole idea of secular India for their own advantage and for their own development. How the intolerable world, how the people use secular, how people mobilize the how people mobilize groups on the virtue on the dictum of the religion in totality. Not just Hindus, but even Muslim does it in order to gain political. There were a number of communal rights we have seen lately. There is another tendency, what Christoph Jaffer has rightly said, the vulnerable Hindus. Hindus, not majority of them, but few portion of them have thought that the Muslims, the majority in India, 2011 census, India holds more than 80%. India is a land of which more than 80% are Hindu, and Muslims less than 13%. 13%. But Christopher Jaffret has rightly said that the majority are finding itself dangerous for minority. What he means was that Hindus are finding themselves vulnerable. What he basically wants to convey is the Hindus have created that mindset that the Muslims might take over them, and the India will become a Muslim state, eventually will lead into a Muslim state. So these are some of the failures that the government is not able to stop. The government is not able to do anything about it. And this is what Nehru was fearing of. If you mix the religion into politics, this is what it leads to. Is there any way ahead? Is there any way ahead for religion for a secular India? I would say we should take example from Brussels for Belgium, and uh, especially from the European countries, and even look down into the Indian principle as well. Or what we always preach, India is always a country of a multicultural society. We always respect the values and the freedom of other religion. We always remain tolerant to other religion. We never enforce the practice and the idea of one religion over the other. So this is one way of doing it. This is what the Gandhian principle of ethics and morality always talks about. The other way, what what Ambedkar would have called is like to give them more power, bring them more realistic version into society. The sharing of power. In Brussels, what they have done, they have given an epitome of power to the minority as well, just to make them feel they are the part of the government, to bring them into the main domain where they feel they are the part of the system as well, where they feel they are not against the idea of United India, but they are the one who's holding the idea of India. So this is what the power sharing, this is what decentralization does to you. This is what a healthy democracy is all about. Healthy democracy is not only where one elects their own representatives, where one is free to elect to their own representative. Democracy is the dissent voices. The countries have dissent. Democracy is those voices, those criticism, those healthy criticism that people draw on their own government, that people demand from their government. And the very fact that we should accept the diverse society, we should accept that India is never the land of a Hindu society. India is a land of a multicultural and multilingual society, and is always going to be. Uh, I hope the chapter. This is what I have done. This is what I have done best in an hour. I can go on lecture to lecture, defining what basic ideas of secularism and what secularism means in India. As we are running short on time, and I have another chapter to prepare, another chapter to deliver, I will stop in here. Any question that may raised by the student should be answered at the end of the seminar. Uh, Irrespective of this, I can also reading of a few readings by Rajiv Bhargava is there, T.S. Madan is there, Neeraj Chandok is there, and few more dignitaries who have done tremendous work in the area of secularism, uh, and how the concept of secularism is different from the Western concept of the secularism. They clearly define it, and how India should see themselves in the future India. How India is us, how India, what makes India a secular India? Is it all about it is all, is it all about the, uh, so this is what the idea of a secular India is all about. During the final phase of this lecture, we'll talk about the practices India, or the question that anyone wants to answer, anyone wants to ask, or one can find me through the email ID that I'll be sharing in the end of this in the end of this webinar. Uh, Now moving to the next chapter, which is strategies of development. Just give me a minute so I can like help my throat. I've been speaking for an hour. So let's start with the next slide. The strategies of development in India and post-independence. As most of us know, that the British India, the East India Company, came India just to have, as India is one of the main exporters in the world, which contributing like 24% of the GDP in 1700. So we are known for our resources. We are known for what we call as a golden churia, Soni ki churia, what many of us are calling during that time. So India is known to have resources, plenty of resources, or and this is what led Britishers, what East India Company, to so then again we'll start with the topic. We'll see if it goes again off. If I'm again getting offline, I'll just coordinate with them. what we were saying, that India is, which is known as Sone ki Chadiya, golden bird. This is the only reason why the British came to India to develop the business, to develop their business system in India. And as India is known for resources, which India, which is contributing 24% of the GDP in the world, owning. So let's start with this topic. Battle of Plassey. We know that Battle of Plassey was the one which where Britishers first fought and they won it. And from Battle of Plassey to 1858, they not only won the war, but created a space in the Indian territory, a space which is so deep that it took more than more than a century, and during that century, they not only looted India, but they also exploited and devastated the Indian economy. As Shashi Tharoor has actually said, the Indians were fighting with the World War II. Indians were fighting for the independent British, for the independent British, just to save their own. Both the war had been fought to save the British from the humiliation, and this Indian soldiers, Indian resources, which contributed, which funded the entire war. So World War One and World War Two was fought with the resources that was being exploited from the Indian continent, that was exploited from the Indian people, and Britishers were the one who were gained tremendously during the time. It is actually to say that the idea of ruling, was that what they say is that India is a nation of a snake charmer. What does this mean, the snake charmer? What the Britishers were called as in the world of Charles Dickens was the land of a what Charles Dickens was called. India was a land of a, what Charles Dickens was actually said is the white man burden. White man burden is like the whites which are like superior, which God Himself had created. So they have the extra burden of making a beast like India, barbaric culture, barbaric beast like of India, civilized again. Not just India, but the Asian society itself. This is what they have done in India, in Sri Lanka. This is what France has done in the Vietnam. This is what they have done in the China. They not only fought with the government, they also permeated a deep ridden poverty in the society itself. They exploited the entire continent, entire continent in terms of white man burden. What 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 principles white man burden holds? White man burden is defined as, in terms of Charles Dickens, that the Westerns are more superior in terms of everything. They are known for their brain, they are known for their scientific temperament. They are more empirical in theory, they are more empirical, they are more scientific in nature, which is also true. They are known for the architect, they are known for so many things. They are known for the scientific endeavor. While coming to the Asian society, we are the land of snake charmers. We follow superstitious belief. We the one who is being who were following the policy, who were following following such dehuman policies sati pratha, like of widow, the baldness of the widow, and they need to be kept into separate room after the death of their husband. If the widow can't remarry if her husband died. So child remarriage or child marriages. So these were the policies which were this were the culture, this was the thing that been followed by the Indian during that time. We so Britishers want to civilize India in term, want to civilize India and make us our own master. So this is what Britishers have defended itself. Uh, but during this but during this the period, Britishers have derailed entire economic structure of India. What practices that they hold was they not only captured the main sources in the Indian continent, they went on collecting raw material from Indians at the price that is determined them by them. They took those raw materials into their own country, prepared them into the finished products, bring the same material into India and sells the price at the more higher price, so the entire profit goes into their pockets. Beside this, beside this, there were few powerful export policies that Indians were holding, like of textiles and handloom, which Indians were so profit at. They not only exploited those resources, but also make sure that those resources or those industries will not grow in future. And that is what happened. That from India's 24% have come down to less than 1%, and and even in terms of negative growth. So in a country like India, after 1947, where most of the where every society, where not just the economy, but more than 65%, more than 70% of the population was engaged in the primary sector, where most of the society were living in a poverty trap, where people are dying of hunger, where people are not having the basic amenities with them. This is the challenges that India had when she became independent. So we'll see how India took that challenge and how India practices the challenge and what is India now. So post 1947, what India followed was India followed we call as mixed economy. Mixed economy, or what Nehru used to call a democratic socialism. Certainly, there were two ideologies which was promoting during that time. One is capitalism, socialism. One is capitalism, another is socialism. Capitalism is where one gives more independence to the private individuals, private industries, and the socialism where the one gives more treatment to the government sector, the government industries. It's basically where the means of production lies in the hands of the government and where the means of production lies in the hands of the private individuals. So, in a country where the economic is downgraded, where the resources is being exploited, where more than 70% of the population is lying in the poverty trap. So it was not feasible to align themselves with the capitalist society, or to align themselves with the to give way to the industries or to give way to the United States of America in their ideology. So what Nehru chose was democratic socialism, where he not only promoting the industries but also make sure that there should be equity in terms of the delivery of the goods in the Indian society, where he will bring the social justice in the Indian society. So this is what democratic socialism in terms of in terms of Jawaharlal Nehru promoted. So he ventured on what he called as mixed economy. Mixed economy is nothing but this idea of democratic socialism, where he not only giving promotion to the industries, the heavy industries, but also make sure the role of the government, the intervention of the state, which will permeate the resources deep down into the society. If you remember the Indira Gandhi work, that the central government sent over rupees coin, and when it reaches to the villages, it self converted into 25 paisa. What she means? What there's so much corruption in between. So he wants to create a model where he can promote, where he can took the resources which was created by the heavy industries and permeate that model into the society itself, into the into the society which is poverty ridden. And this is what the idea of Keynesian model is also. It's a state intervention, that a country which is starting in the new process, the country which is starting with the country which is starting itself. So you cannot think to devote all of the energy into the hand of the private individuals. The state, the government have to take various intervention. The state needs to create the market, he called as market mechanism. And the state need to create the market model where the the profit, the resources should be travel deep down into the community, deep down in the rural segment of the society. So what we promoted was the idea of substitute-oriented economy. Substitute-oriented economy will be more talk about in future slides, but for now, substitute-oriented economy is nothing but what Nehru said, or what basically means that will not buy goods from uh, the Western country, but will create the substitute of those goods in India itself and will buy Swadeshi. Substitute is more like what the present government is promoting at Swadeshi good. Atmanirbhar. What one can say, the Atmanirbhar of Indian economy. So substitution is not a very new thing in the Indian economy itself. Though it's a matter of time that the substitution economy we Indian failed tremendously. If we have chosen the later, if we have chosen the export-oriented economy, it would have been known as the tigers of the Asian, not as a and cannot be seen as the Indian that we see India as now. So the burden was lying in the hand of the Nehru. What plan, what kind of model that one needs to follow, this government needs to follow in order to in order to make in order to develop India itself, in order to develop India, in making sure that India once again back on the track, and once again will leads into the rapid development and compete with the other countries and the neighboring as well. So it was during the Bombay plan. Bombay plan was nothing. It was more of a plan drawn by the industrialists. They were there were like eight main industrialists who sat together and draw this plan and talk to the government. Though there were other plans, there were Gandhian plan, there were other plans also, which talks about the village, which talks about the self-sufficient and other. But the Bombay plan is the one which which were drawn by the eight industrialists during that time. Purushottam Das, Purushottam Das Thakur, Tata, Birla, Lala Bhai, Dalal. There were many other who draw this plan and set and recommend few things and recommend few plan to the Indian government. What they wanted was abolishment of the zamindari system, and later on we see the how the Indian government not only abolished the zamindari system but also abolished the privy pursuit of the privy pursuit, the resources which been given by the Indian government the post independence to the Maharajas and Maharani who chose to remain with India and not with Pakistan. So what this Bombay plan means, Bombay plan is nothing but it's a collection of eight industries and their idea that we should abolish the zamindari system. Government should create resources. What Kenshin have talked about, the government should create resources which will help creating a structure, for the industries to develop themselves, to develop a model and help the country in creating a model of development. Keynesian model is about creating a market mechanism where state will intervene in creating a market mechanism in order to develop basic amenities in the market. And this one thing that I like to mention is about the essential consumer goods. If you look at the 1992 or the 1990s, how the end of the Cold War and for the Berlin War, with Gorbachev bringing two policies of Glasnost and Perestroika, which basically means the more freedom to the politics and the economics. Though at a moment of time it does lead to the derailment of the United USSR or the one of the factors which leads into the defeat in the USSR model. But it's also true that during the government they were able to give the 100% employment. They were just able to generate 100% employment. It's also true. Not just this two factors, but there were other factors are also there, which lead to the fall of the USSR, the mightiest USSR. The USSR, what they were doing was, they were creating goods and services to compete to the other market. Armaments is there. There were other factors were there that they were creating goods, but they were not creating the essential consumer goods, which is being consumed by their own society, and it ultimately leads into the fall of the USSR. So Nehru makes sure that those things won't happen in India. So he preferentially give treatment to the consumer industries, and what later leaders like Lal Bahadur Shastri rightly said Jai Jawan Jai Kisan during the Green Revolution. So this was some plan, post-independent plan. During this plan, this another thing happened. This one more thing happened, which is creation of a planning commission. Creation of a planning commission. What this planning commission is? It was created in 1950. It's an extra constitution body. Extra constitution body which is nowhere mentioned in the Constitution of India. Neither it's not an enforcement body. It's only an advisory. It's an advisory member. It's more of a think tank economic policy, where one devote all the goods and how the country will function in the long run. The objective of planning commission was to create a plan for the next 5 years, how the country is going to pursue their goal, and how the country is going to function in each sector. Is the planning commission going to draw? The prime minister is the ex officio member in here. It's an autonomous body. It's more of a, what I've said is a consultant and more of an advisory body, not an intervention body, not of a intervention body. Besides this, Nehru had one more responsibility, which is to take care of the social welfare and the inequalities. As we have known, that India, even today, Akfam says that 1% of the population holds 97, 58 or 58% of the resources. Even in India, the 1% is holding more than 50% of the resources. So there's high number of disparity between the rich and the poor. Not only the disparity in terms of the class, but also in terms of caste. The caste being suffered not only in terms of the class, but also because of their caste. Where they were not getting the enough advantage, not during the post-independence India or the pre-independence area. So this was some of the responsibility that Nehru had to cater. As I talk about the democratic socialism, what democratic socialism is, it's an idea which is promoted by the Nehru, where he not only wants to promote the idea of industries, heavy industries, but also wants to make sure that those industries, the resources of those industries should be permitted deep down into the society, into the least advantaged society. The other was mixed economy. Mixed economy is nothing but more of a principle of having both the capitalist and the socialist outlook during what they have followed during the five-year plans. The other thing besides this was he had given more treatment to public industries. Bhel, Gale, these were some industries drawn, which were able to draw with these public industries and became one of the pioneers of the Indian society or in current India. Nationalization is another thing. Uh, Nationalization is like Indira Gandhi did it in 1960s. I'm not remembering the exact date. But what nationalization is, during there were like some banks which are privatized. So what they were not giving due share to the poorer section of society. So what Indira Gandhi did was Indira Gandhi converted those banks into the public thing, what you call today called the State Bank of India, and there were other banks also. So uh, the main idea of nationalization was to bring banking sector to the disadvantaged society of the people, so they can save more savings into the bank, and the bank can directly go to the saving to the least advantaged society of the people. So this was the main idea of the nationalization, and how is going to help in the Indian economy. Uh, Later on, this many theory of development. This one theory of development, which talks about the saving model. Saving model is like you save what people used to do, what the middle class used to do. They never used to spend their money. They always used to save their saving, and that saving will eventually help the the upper class citizens to construct more into the public spaces. And doing that saving, they were getting some rich amount of interest, and the amount is also will be there with them, whenever they wish to dispense of. The another characteristic was to have an intervention state. Intervention state. Hmm. Intervention state, what tension or even the economists like Adam Smith have talked about. Though Adam Smith was known as the father of liberalism, which he basically means that this. Just hold on a minute. Hmm. So what Adam Smith was talking about? I was talking about Adam Smith. So Adam Smith was known as the father of liberalism, but liberalism, the father of liberalism, where he wanted to promote the free practice of practice of market, and market let the market decide whichever they want to go. But we do not talk about that. Adam Smith also talks about the state intervention during the starting phase of the business, starting phase of the market, where the state should interfere in a positive way in order to make sure that the market grows, that the other competitors won't eat the new competitor. So this is what the intervention state means. Even if you look at the Nozick definition of the state, which he calls that the state should act as a night watchman. Uh, one It's more of one negative negative liberty which he was talking about, but the thinkers like T.H. Green and and the others have rightly says that there should be some intervention from the state as well in order to make sure that the resources should be drawn to the disadvantaged society. The other was import substitution. So, what does actually import substitution mean, and why India chose to go with the import substitution, and what is this concept of Asian tiger means? During post 1947, 1950 period, as we know, the Britishers have exploited many of our resources. We were running negative growth uh, in terms of economy, not in terms of population. Uh, Besides this, what the government does was, the government cannot let their market open to other competitors, to other big industries coming from the United States of America or the other continent, because they fear that their country might be overtaken by those powerful capitalists, and they will again become the tool in the hand of the capitalist structure. This is what been done. This is what we call as imperial politics. In imperial politics, a country does not confront and wage a war against the other country, and and devote their principle in terms of physical presence, but imperialism is all about controlling the other country through economic policies. So this is the fear that the India was having during post-independence. So we never, never, our market was close to the other capitalist society. And even if someone wants to import in India, what they have done is the government have kept the import duty high as 100% in few sectors. Even if you remember the gift which was uh, given to Sachin by Michael Schumacher, or I'm not remembering the name, Ferrari. Uh, Even he need to import for the importation of the Ferrari, he need to pay the 100% of the amount, which the government later on change it to as a gift, and a gift the Sachin did not have to pay any amount on the Ferrari. So import substitution is more about where the Indian government is creating the self-substitution of the goods. Self-substitution of the goods so that they don't have to depend on the other country to import from the other countries. In short term, it basically means to be Atmanirbhar. And what does Atmanirbhar is? Atmanirbhar is like, today I'm having we're living in a globalized world. We are having multiple opportunities. We are having multiple fragments to choose from a single identity. Just an example. If we go and buy a toothpaste, we look after Colgate. There's Pepsodent, there's Oral-B, there's uh, Dabur. There's many more. Even phone. If you need to buy a cell phone, there's Samsung, there's iPhone, there's Xiaomi, there's Xiaomi there, there's Micromax is there, there's plenty more. So what government wants to do, they want to create a substitute so that we don't have to depend on the other. What Gandhi have done during 1919 and during 1932, what the Gandhi eventually wanted was to create an idea where the government depend on this Swadeshi item. The India promote the Swadeshi goods, not the Videshi goods. and deregulation of the market. It happened, as we all know, it happened during the 1990s. Manmohan Singh was the one who eventually can be said as the brain, who is the brainchild of the, who talks about the deregulation of the market, who talks about the LPG, the liberation, post privatization, globalization, and eventually he opened our market to the world. Uh, we can say that, yeah, during during the post-liberation or the during 1980s, uh, India became Indian industries became pretty confident in them, and we were promoting the quality number of goods so that we can compete with the other market as well. And that is the reason why we chose to remain, why we chose to keep our market open for the other society as well. Why we keep it, why we chose privatization, why we chose liberalization, why we deregulated our market. And the companies like of Bhel Sale, Asian Paint, even for that matter, think Tata buy, not only buy the two international brands, that is Jaguar, Land Rover, but also buy many other companies. The the companies like of Peter England is making the uh, tremendous number of qualities, export oriented qualities in the world. So we can have an equal competition, but the competition cannot be, but this today's competition cannot be happen during the post 1947, because during that time our economies were in the bad shape. Our the market was nowhere nowhere to compete with the urbanization of the Western model itself. Uh, This one thing that I would like to add, few more things that I like to add. During import substitution period, even there were many Asian tigers like of Singapore and a few more countries. They were also having the same number of. They were also started from the same journey. But what they chose was later. They chose the export substitution model. What China was doing and what today the India was looking after. Export oriented model was, you come and set up in India and we'll export it to the outside. We'll export our good to the outside. If we have chosen that model in India, I think that the entire situation would have been different. But looking at the circumstances during that time, I think the import substitution was the best what the government have chosen for. Uh, and export orientation what the China was doing here right now, which eventually make the China one of the most powerful country in the economies, and sooner or later it's going to overtake the US as well. So uh, coming to the India, government itself now making converting itself into the export orientation, the program like Make in India, and if the giving export substitution, and there's like more of rebates, there's more of freebies to the one who's coming and establishing their business in India. Besides the establishment of business, they will be bringing a number of opportunities to the Indian society itself, which can be said as business opportunities will there. There will be resources, there will be technologies, there will be new power brains, and many more. I haven't talked in details about the planning commission, but let's just say that planning commission, the idea of planning commission, with, from 1951 to post 2017, there are 12 plans still for, and government has now abolished Planning Commission, and what they created was Niti Aayog. They are changed to Niti Aayog in 2014 itself. So Planning Commission basically the industrialization, the modernization, the elevation of poverty through his program like Manrega, many more implemented during this time itself. Uh, Planning Commission never able to what do you call us never able to deliver what was expected from it. Though there were many number of challenges during the post-independence, I'll talk in details. One was low per capita income, which is true. Uh, Not only low per capita income, we were having high mortality rate in terms of Human Development Index, which is health, educational, and per capita income. We were lacking in all the sectors. Our economy was plundered from 24% to 1%. Our primary sectors was nowhere in competition with the world. Our development, we were also lacking with the social opportunity. They were the high number of people were dying out of poverty, out of hunger. Uh, our small industries were in the bad shape. Our handloom industries were totally devastated, totally blundered. So the main strategies of the government was to improve the HDI, which they did eventually, and the country states like of Kerala, Tripura, majorly the North Indian states have high literacy rate as as long as more than 90%. States like Punjab, Haryana have per capita income have higher per capita income. State like of Kerala, also North Indian states are leading into the health sectors. Uh, Programs like of Manrega, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, uh, employment generation programs, and many others, Jawaharlal Nehru, Urban Rural Employment Mission, and many others were created in order to minimize the divide and gap that was created by the Britishers in India. Uh, the equalities, divided inequalities that was being created during the post-independent challenge that we are having, we try to minimize that challenge, though we have not able to attain anywhere near around the anywhere near around the circle. We are just beating the bush, but we have done tremendously the well thing in today and future to come. Uh, there were many problems about the planning commission. There was inefficiencies in the delivery. There was unbalanced development and more. So with this, I'll end my today's topic. Uh, if with this, I'll end today's topic, and if someone is having any question or wants to reach out with me, uh, I can share my email IDs. One can reach out to me through my email IDs. One can raise question answer.
सर आप वर्बली दे दीजिए इनके आंसर्स.
अच्छा ठीक है मैम. काजल शर्मा पूछ रही है एज वेल स्टडी मटेरियल से क्वेश्चन पेपर कैसे करते हैं. काजल शर्मा, एज वेल स्टडी मटेरियल से क्वेश्चन जो टॉपिक मैं कवर कर रहा हूँ क्लास में, आप वो कर लीजिए। आज हम लोगों ने सेक्युलरिज्म और डेमोक्रेसी डेवलपमेंट किया था, तो आप वो दोनों प्रिपेयर कर लीजिएगा। सेक्युलरिज्म की कुछ रीडिंग्स होगी तो मैं यहाँ पे पब्लिश कर दूँगा, आप वहाँ से उसको ले सकती हैं। और कुछ रीडिंग मैंने क्लास में बताई भी थी, राजीव भार्गवा है, TS मदान है और नीरज चंदोक है, उनके बारे में सेक्युलरिज्म में से पढ़ सकती हैं। 20 मार्क्स नंबर काजल शर्मा पूछ रहे हैं, 20 नंबर के क्वेश्चन में कितने पेजेस करने होंगे? मिनिमम 10 पेजेस करने पड़ेंगे आपको, बैक 5 पेजेस करने पड़ेंगे फ्रंट एंड बैक। आंसर प्रैक्टिस के लिए आपको, काजल शर्मा पूछ रहे हैं, आंसर प्रैक्टिस के लिए आपको क्या करना चाहिए? ट्राई करिए थोड़ा बुक्स और थोड़ा पढ़ें, एंड जो भी डाउट होती है तो आप रीच आउट कर सकती हैं। बट जब तक आंसर जब तक पढ़ेंगे नहीं आप, तो पॉसिबल नहीं हो पाएगा। आंसर पढ़ना और स्टार्ट करिए। जो मैं क्लास में करा रहा हूँ उसको आप फिर से रिपीट करते रहिए और उसके नोट्स बनाइए और साथ में जो भी मटेरियल आपको प्रोवाइडेड है उसमें से लिखिए। बस जो ये कुंजी टाइप की होती हैं वो मत लीजिएगा आप लोग, वो प्रेफर मत करना। सम इम्पॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन में मैं ये अभी लास्ट में इम्पॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस लूँगा। वैसे अभी दो, जितने भी हम 6 टॉपिक करेंगे वो 6 टॉपिक ही हमारे इम्पॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस होंगे। I'll do 6 topics and this is going to be our important topics: secularism, democracy, post development, federalism, caste, uh, human rights in China and India, and there will be like two more topics that I'll be doing in next 2 classes. वॉइस का इशू आता है, मेक श्योर कि नेक्स्ट टाइम से वॉइस का इशू ना आए। थोड़ा डिस्टर्बेंस था बीच में नेटवर्क्स को लेके। नेक्स्ट टाइम से मेक श्योर खुशबू की थोड़ा हिंदी में भी बोला करूँगा, सिर्फ हिंदी में नहीं हो, इंग्लिश में नहीं करूँगा। सॉरी, आई डिडंट सी बीच में कौन कौन कमेंट कर रहे थे, बट नेक्स्ट टाइम से हिंदी का मैं ध्यान रखूँगा। और इसे श्योर आगे से हिंदी में पक्का करूँगा मैं रिपीट क्लासेस, बाइलिंगुअल रखूँगा, सिर्फ इंग्लिश में डिलीवर नहीं करूँगा। Tanish Joshi, you are a bit late to join our classes. I'll brief what I was teaching in today's classes. I was talking about secularism. Though yeah, my pronunciation would be not up to the mark because there were some glitches in the network as well as in the bike. So I'll try from next time. Send the notes या notes मैं साथ में दे दूँगा। whatever presentation I was making, I'd made, I'll publish it to you in the group itself. Voice में काफ़ी disturbance है। I'll make sure कि next time से voice में थोड़ा दिक्कत ना हो। नहीं, आप लोगों की वॉइस हमारे पास नहीं आ रही है। हाउ इंडियन सेक्युलरिज्म डिफरेंट फ्रॉम अदर सेक्युलरिज्म? सो इंडियन सेक्युलरिज्म इज बेसिकली, पहले अदर सेक्युलरिज्म देयर इज नथिंग कॉल्ड अदर सेक्युलरिज्म, देयर इज वेस्टर्न कंसेप्ट ऑफ सेक्युलरिज्म. वेस्टर्न कंसेप्ट ऑफ सेक्युलरिज्म इज व्हाट, वेयर देयर इज अ कंप्लीट सेग्रीगेशन बिटवीन द चर्च एंड द स्टेट. हिंदी में इसको बोलते हैं कि आप चर्च, रिलीजन और स्टेट मतलब गवर्नमेंट आपकी, उसमें कंप्लीट सेपरेशन होना चाहिए, वो दोनों आपके इक्वल आप दोनों किसी के बीच में इंटरफेयर नहीं करोगे। स्टेट वाला रिलीजन को नहीं बताएगा, रिलीजन वाला स्टेट को गाइड नहीं करेगा। While coming to the Indian context of secularism, we have a different approach. हमारा है, though we follow the principle of segregation of church and the state, but at the same time, Indian government can interfere into the government, can interfere into the religion in the name of dehumanity, or in the name if the principle of humanity or the principle of ethics and morality has been not taken up. जैसे कि अगर कोई डी प्रैक्टिस हो रही है कोई डी प्रैक्टिस हो रही है जहाँ पे इंडिविजुअल की डिग्निटी को कुछ हार्म हो रहा है, वहाँ उस केस में स्टेट इंटरफेयर कर सकता है और स्टेट इंटरफेयर करेगा। जैसे कि अगर हम लोग देखें तो सती की जो प्रैक्टिस है उसमें क्या होता था कि राजपूत बोलेंगे कि भाई ये प्रैक्टिस हमारे बहुत क्लोज है, this is the practice that we are following it, and it's up to our own religion, we want to follow it or not. So Indian government will never say कि भाई तुम्हारा religion और different हमारे secularism है हमारे country में, and state will not interfere in the working of the religion institution. ऐसा नहीं बोलेगा state. In this case, state will interfere and still make sure कि that practice won't happen in future. सेम थिंग वी हैव डन टू चाइल्ड मैरिज। ठीक है, तो ये डिफरेंस है थोड़ा इंडिया में और वेस्टर्न कंसेप्ट और सेकुलरिज्म में। हिंदी में नेक्स्ट टाइम से पक्का, हिंदी में नेक्स्ट टाइम से आई विल मेक श्योर बाइलिंगुअल रखूँगा। आप जितने भी आपने बेसिक्स रीडिंग स्टार्ट करो, थोड़ा स्टार्ट करो, आप जो भी आपके पास रीडिंग्स हैं वहाँ से स्टार्ट करो। उसके बाद थोड़ा बहुत मटेरियल ऑनलाइन सर्च करो और आइदर मेरे आप उस पर क्या नाम है ईमेल्स पे आप लोग देख सकते हो, मुझे वहाँ पे पर्सनली मेल कर सकते हो। आई प्रोवाइड यू द रीडिंग्स। वॉल्यूम का 1977 गाइडलाइंस। 1977 सुप्रीम कोर्ट की गाइडलाइंस थी, बोमाई के इसमें था, बोमाई के 1977 गाइडलाइंस में था कि स्टेट इंटरफेयर नहीं करेगा यार, वहाँ पे स्टेट रिलीजन में इंटरफेयर नहीं करेगा। ठीक है, एंड स्टेट अगर इंटरफेयर करता है तो उसको हटना पड़ेगा। नाइनटीन 1977 था कि हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में क्लियरली मेंशन है कि वन कैन प्रोफेस, प्रोपोगेट एंड प्रमोट देयर ओन रिलीजन, बट उसमें था कि कोई भी कर सकता है, प्रोपोगेट कर सकता है, प्रमोट कर सकता है, बट एल्यूरमेंट के थ्रू, जैसे कि किसी को ब्राइब दे दी या फिर किसी को फोर्सफुली कन्वर्ट करवा रहे हैं हम लोग। तो दिस वाज द प्रैक्टिस दैट शुड बी अवॉइडेड इन द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन और द इंडियन स्टेट। ये प्रैक्टिस हम लोग नहीं करेंगे। नेक्स्ट टाइम से आई मेक श्योर कि बायलैंग्वेज रखूँगा क्लास। decentralization is when the power has been given from the when the power is सेंटर से पावर परमेट करना टू द ग्रास रूट लेवल पर, जस्ट व्हाट वी हैव डन विद द पंचायती राज, जहाँ पर हम लोगों ने पावर को जो नीचे तक लेकर आ गए हैं हम लोग। पीपीटी को मैं सेंड कर दूंगा आप लोगों को।